Welcome to the Hey Docs podcast with your host, Jill Allen. Today, I am joined by Nick Wangler, co-founder of Details, a company that's helping orthodontists make smarter supply decisions and take back control of their overhead. Nick has a background in both startups and operations, and he's on a mission to bring transparency, simplicity, and savings to an area most doctors overlook, supply spending. We'll cover what's really in your invoices, what inventory solutions actually work, and how to think like a founder. Whether you're starting a new practice or launching your next big idea, this episode's for you. Let's get started. This episode was brought to you by Gray Finch. Hey docs, if you want to have a great business, the right practice management software is essential. But some can be slow, outdated, and lacking good support. That's why I recommend Gray Finch to all orthodontists. It's the fastest, most reliable, and most secure platform to grow your business and improve your efficiency. It's completely web-based, so you can run your entire practice anywhere and from any device with no servers, no downloads, or hidden fees. They even have the most helpful and responsive support team around. Right now, Gray Finch is giving a $500 discount to our listeners. Visit grayfinch.com/Jill Allen to learn more and see why it's one of the fastest growing providers in America. Nick, I am so excited to have you back on Hey Docs. Thanks for being here.
I'm so excited to be here. So excited.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. So in the event that somebody hasn't heard your other podcast with me, would you mind just giving us a quick update on refresher about your background, how you came to be a part of Details, all of that good stuff?
Sure. Yeah. And thanks again. We love what you guys are doing, and I always love talking with you. So thanks for the invite. Yeah. So I knew nothing about orthodontics about 4 or 5 years ago. You've been very gracious in teaching me quite a bit, and as has been our team and our co-founding doctors. Yeah, have a technology background. So I worked in consulting for just over a decade. I was in the military before that, and took those skills of understanding technology and how to launch new businesses and all of that. And we launched what is now Details. And so there was an orthodontist who came to the place I was consulting. His name's Dr. Jeff Biggs, really smart, bright guy, very charismatic. And he showed up and he was like, I want you to build me an Amazon for orthodontics. And we were like, it's cute. You think that's how this works. You can't just write a check and get your way with this. It's going to be a little bit more complicated than I think what you think it is. So we gave him homework like we would any entrepreneur. And to his credit, he went out and did his homework. So he talked to multiple suppliers, tons of practices, came back with, here's where maybe I was a little off, but in these areas, like every practice I talked to is struggling. In these areas, all of the suppliers I was able to talk to wishes something existed. And so the core problem that he wanted to solve was the fact that he has a clinical staff member who works with patients, who's very quick to raise her hand and say, I'm happy to help with this. I'm happy to help with that. And yet she is also charged with ordering supplies. And so they're part of a bunch of buying groups. They are ordering from a bunch of different suppliers, always trying to save money, trying to save time. And this clinical staff member that could be starting new patients, the whole goal of what we're doing here. And instead she is like on the phone with a rep or whatever. There was this one moment in particular where he was trying to find her, and she was on the phone with one rep, emailing another, and then a rep walked in the door. And he was like, there's got to be a better way to do this. And so we sought to start exploring how to solve for that. And so with Details, we give the practice one place to order from any supplier. You don't have to switch to certain suppliers. You can order from anybody that you want. We're agnostic, so we're not opinionated about how you practice or what you want to use. You can order everything from coffee to clinical supplies all through Details. And I'm not an orthodontic products expert specifically, but building teams and technology, and specifically this challenge of being an office trying to order supplies on top of everything else you have to do is an area where I've spent a lot of time. And I've really felt welcomed by people like you in the industry to build something like this.
Yeah, and you've done a fantastic job. And I think the thought of for all of us, ordering is really not nobody wants to be tapped with, guess what? You're the person who needs to be the
Right.
ordering queen or king. Like
Yep.
nobody wants that. Nobody wants that as their job. And I think Dr. Biggs did a great job in acknowledging an area in our practice that was really a knot where
Yeah.
it would just slow us down, and we're not using, a lot of times we're using our most expensive talent to
Yeah.
do something that doesn't always make the most sense, but yet we need their knowledge on it. And I
Spending dollars to save dimes.
Yes, exactly. And I think the idea of it's always fun to hear again how details came about, and just seeing that is exciting to see. And that kind of leads me into talking about ordering in and of itself. This isn't the sexy side of
Right.
our businesses. Nobody's, I get to go and have a whole conversation with Jill about ordering. I think inventory and managing our costs, from when we look at it from a business perspective, and we're looking at the big numbers and P&L, and we all are looking at costs and overhead, and it all plays in. And having an understanding of our inventory and having that under control, and having some foresight into what we're doing, really can honestly make a big difference, as you and I both know, in businesses. And so I'm wondering if you can just talk about what it means to have inventory under control, and to be looking at that from that bigger
Sure.
perspective when we're looking at, it's not just ruffling through line magazines, not that they do that anymore, really, but to find the
Sure.
best deal.
Absolutely. Yeah. What it looks like is peace of mind. That's really our goal. So ultimately, our goal for the practice is peace of mind about supplies. And it comes in a couple of forms. So for a practice, we talk about it as internal bleeding. You don't necessarily see the dollars that are maybe being wasted in one way or another. And you don't necessarily see the burnout in your team member's face until it's too late. And so these are true pieces that are internal bleeding that gets bad over time. Right. And so when that staff person leaves, or when they're sick, or when whatever, something happens, you have to let them go, whatever. And now you're left with a binder, and you're part of 4 different buying groups. You're not exactly sure which ones you're ordering what from. And you've got this binder of all the rep information. And now the doctor's spending time trying to figure that out. We want to help you future proof so that you never have to worry about that kind of thing. When you add an office, it's very easy to just, well, we already know what we want to order. Now we need to order it for that office. So having an interface, a platform where you can just go and order all of your supplies. And so really, procurement, before this, I was doing all sorts of really cool technology projects in a bunch of different industries. And so I never thought it'd be an orthodontic procurement. It was not sexy to me at first, but the challenge, it has been sexy. And for sure, the result is, so what's sexy is money and team members that are happy. And so when we've had multiple team members that have sent us notes saying that you've literally changed my life. I didn't know a better way to do this. I was using spreadsheets, and I was doing this and I was doing that. And the doctor relies on me for this, and I didn't want to let them down. And it's like the other piece we don't talk about that often, but each practice gets a concierge from our team. So you get a human being with years of orthodontic procurement experience, led by Carrie Ann from our team, who previously led the procurement team at Smile Doctors. So you have access to expertise that is top notch to help make sure that staff member has peace of mind. The last thing you want them thinking about as they're talking to a patient is like, this other person just told me we need gloves. I need to make sure I write down gloves on the Post-it note or whatever. Yeah. So that peace of mind is really the goal for us and our customers.
Yeah. So let's talk about, you talk to practices all the time. I'm sure some are just calling and being like, hey, I heard about you guys, but what do you guys use to help identify, or maybe doctors that are listening to be like, maybe I do need a better inventory system? Like what are some of those red flags or those markers that say, yeah, I think we're moving beyond your basic spreadsheet here?
Yeah. So it can come in a couple of different forms. So we'll start with the earliest stage. So for startups, certainly it doesn't take you tons of hours to order supplies when you're a startup in the first, let's say, year. But as you know very well, Jill, as we have worked together with clients, the process leading up to launching is a nightmare. It is super difficult. You really don't understand. It's hard to, and I certainly, before I came into ortho, had no idea just how many different things you have to order, how many different things you need to have. And so for you as a doctor launching a business that, by the way, has like a real estate component and like you got to start getting clients and all that, the last thing you want to worry about is, do I choose this one or this one? And wait, how many do I need at launch versus 3 months in, et cetera? And so Carrie Ann and our team actually has a really well done process to help them really wrap their head around that. And then once you get started, you're starting from the exact place you're going to want to be 10 years from now. And so it's not like there's going to be this little fire that's growing. And then before you know it, it's like, we don't have brackets today. And how did you end up there? There wasn't one moment. It was 5 years of just, it was good enough. The spreadsheet was good enough. So for our perspective is you might as well start, we offer things that are affordable for a startup and affordable for a big practice. So you might as well start with a modern technology approach. Dr. Brian Rochford, one of our longtime clients, says we're not running lemonade stands here. Like, we're running professional businesses. We should use the tools to do that. And so from the startup perspective, getting out in front of that is a goal. For just about any other type of practice, we have practices that are 15, 20 offices and practices that are one office, but massive number of patients. Different practices have different things they care about. Some of them really are trying to tighten up from a pricing perspective. So really what they want to make sure that they're doing is not overspending on supplies. And that's really hard to do if all of the ordering information isn't in one place. Because you may think you have a great price, but how do you know you have a great price? And does that price really good compared to the two others that your staff member looked at, but not as good as someone else that's over here? That's hard to tell. And so while we're not in a game of trying to help practices price shop all the time, we can help them take a strategic approach and say, okay, let's take a step back. Details really is a strategic approach. I'm going to centralize my ordering to one place. I'm going to give my team member a tool to help empower them to be more efficient and productive. And then using that strategy of consolidation of the ordering channels, we're ordering in one place. Now it's almost like I'm climbing to the top of a hill. Now I can see the landscape. Okay, why am I a part of 5 buying groups? At what point do we end up being a part? Maybe I just need to be part of 1 or 2. I'm a part of this one for this reason, but we can help the practice understand that dynamic. I would say a majority of practices have that on their mind, but something has happened where it's like, I can tell my team members overwhelmed, or I can tell that we're frantically ordering, right? I can see like bees buzzing when it's, oh crap, we need those. And can we get those gloves tomorrow? Which then is an additional shipping fee. And so as those activities start to happen, that's usually when a doctor will raise their hand and say, hey, I think we need some help. A doctor I was talking to, he was like, yeah, I think we're doing okay. He went back and then looked at like the way that they were doing it. And there was a clipboard, 4 different pieces of paper, a paper towel where there was a list written on, and then like a tag that from like a tag system where they're tracking ordering.
Old school. Yep.
But they only use that for one product, all on this clipboard, like hung in a corner. And he was like, all right, yeah, never mind. We probably need to try this. So we just want to help them modernize to give them peace of mind.
Yeah. And what I really love about what you just said is modernizing that system, because this is that thing where it's, we need to do it, but this is not like when we look at the hierarchy of all the things that we have to pay attention to in a practice, this is definitely an easy one to get kicked to the back burner.
Sure.
But I think from the hierarchy of all the things we need to be paying attention to in a business, this is also an easy way to bleed money, I think, in a practice. And if we are not paying attention to our spend and we're not paying attention to our inventory, and I think in days of past, I can remember when it was advised to order for 6 months or 12 months at a time. Good grief. Number one, we aren't building offices that are built to have that much inventory, but also, should we have that much inventory? Are we really saving that much? Or was it just ease of effort that came from, I just don't want to have somebody manage
or
this.
a rep's trying to make their year and hey, I need to get this in, which I get that. But also, why do we still have, we have a team member who used to be in the sales side and refers to it as he's seen doctors with Ferraris on the shelf. because they ordered in bulk, and we're never going to get through this amount of product.
No. And what I still see with my docs, and a lot of times when I'm talking to my startups, is the other thing we have to pay so much attention to now is expiration dates on things. And you get this ordering, and we've got too much, and now you're throwing stuff away. You're literally throwing away money to save money. And to me, so I think just being smart about the way we're setting up our offices in the future and thinking about it from a digitized system and thinking about it. I love your analogy of thinking about it like an Amazon for orthodontics, but it really is that. And I think when you can put your head around that and go, okay, I can go one place, find something. I think that really helps. I'd love it if you can talk to us, because I think sometimes we think about, it's the amount of inventory that we're ordering, or it's the discount of what we're getting when we're ordering, being in these buyers groups and whatnot. But I'm wondering if you can talk about some of the, I don't know, gotchas that are out there, some of that supply cost that we may not see or may not know is going to be on that invoice or whatnot, that you think doctors should be paying attention to when and if they're doing their own ordering.
Sure. Yeah. So this is a dynamic so you have inventory management, like when do we need what we need to order and how much do we typically order, that kind of thing. Ordering it, right, from the 10, 15, just as an aside, the average practice when they first joined Details was regularly ordering from at least 15 different suppliers.
Wow.
And so and that creeps up on them. It's not like that was a conscious decision. And then you have the actual payment side of things, actually paying those invoices. Also, about half of the practices and doctors I talk to, things are on auto pay because it's a nightmare to try to figure out, is that the right price I was supposed to be paid, et cetera. And so we are addressing all of these things. So we have an inventory management tool. We have the ordering platform. We're also rolling out something called Bill Check, which automatically captures all the invoices for the practice, puts it in one place, matches it with all the orders that the practice was sending. And then it's very easy to spot when there's something that's thrown off. So even if you have it all on like auto pay or something like that on your credit card, you can still very easily spot, okay, wait a second, the price here is too high. Like that is not the price we normally paid. So many times what ends up happening is a practice will hop from supplier to supplier because they're chasing a deal. And so it's the staff member, it's Monday, they get on the computer, they see an email. Oh, so-and-so supplier has free shipping on an order. This is a great deal. They go into a Facebook group. They say, hey, you guys should do this group. So they submit that order. 3 months later, that deal's no longer there. And if that staff person isn't every single time they're ordering, making sure that they're doing that, well, now you're paying more, right, than you were supposed to, because yes, that was a great deal for the order you submitted. But then the next order, guess what? The price is higher, right? Yeah. And that's independent of buying group, independent of anything. All the suppliers do that. I don't think maliciously, but it just is a sales tool, right? So that's the kind of thing where and often the person paying the bills is different than the person ordering. So the person that's ordering might be the one that gives the credit card and maybe they're paying attention to it. Someone else is doing billing. How's the billing person supposed to know what's arrived, what's not arrived? And so with this bill check feature, if you use the inventory management, you can actually see on the stream of workflow, okay, this order has an invoice attached and the product has arrived and it looks like it's the right price. Great. This bill is good to pay, or we're going to partially pay this bill for whatever reason. So a tool like that is something that I didn't think about before we came into Details until we had dozens of doctors being like, honestly, I'm just throwing my hands up because it's worth my time and not worth my time at the same time to deal with this. And so that's the kind of thing where when practitioners are frequently chasing specific deals and promos, et cetera, man, you better have that spreadsheet and you better have a staff member that has a full day a month to just focus on that and not miss one of the 100 different SKUs they're going to order that the price went up. And so that is one big piece related to invoices that we're rolling out that I think will be helpful.
Yeah. And again, just thinking about when we think about what it takes and when is it time to give this up, again, when you've got time to manage it, all right, you can say, all right, what's my time worth? I've got time. It's worth it.
Yep.
When you get to that point where you don't have time as the doctor, or your most expensive employee, your lead assistant, is the one who's managing this, and now you're paying him or her, I don't know, 4 hours a week or however
Yeah.
much to manage almost stepping over
Hmm.
dollars to pick up pennies.
Yeah.
That's when I think it really becomes, okay, we really have to start making decisions on, is this the way that we're doing it
The
and
best. Yeah.
and the best way that we're doing it?
It's also tough because the staff and this just recently occurred to me. This occurred to me recently. If you're a staff member, you're in a tough spot there because what's your incentive? Your incentive is to tell the doctor you've saved money somehow, which means every time you see a deal, every time you see a promo, every time you whatever, it is to kind of almost be like on a hamster wheel of activity, right? What's the way to save money in orthodontics? I'm going to be a part of these buying groups. And every time there's a promo, I'm going to take advantage of it. And then, we're a part of this buying group. So now I'm going to shift this one. I'm going to go price shop all the different websites. Like the incentive is for that staff member to sit at a computer. Do you want them sitting at a computer or do you want them chairside? That's
Right.
really ultimately what it comes down to. And while there may be weeks or even seasons early, maybe in a practice where they have the time to do that, if you're strategically set up, that's not necessary. Then if the exposure of the time, like if a staff member, and this is me more from a business perspective outside of orthodontics, this may be bullshit. You can call me on the bullshit because you're an expert in orthodontics. But from just a business perspective, if I have a billable employee that I can't bill for, I have a marketing problem, or I have a conversion problem or whatever. So I want to fill their time with patients.
Yes.
And if there's time exposure, to me, it's like a little bit of smoke. Ooh, what's going on here? Not, oh, good. They can spend 4 hours ordering.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you on that.
And now, a word from the sponsors who make this podcast possible. Are you thinking about opening an orthodontic practice? I know, it's a big decision, but saving 25% on the ADEC equipment you need to get started, that's an easy one. Because ADEC has a special program called Smart Start, designed to help you launch your first practice. You get up to 25% off your ADEC orthodontic equipment and furniture. You also get complimentary services to help you run and grow your business. And my favorite part, access to the Smart Start pricing for 2 whole years after you open your doors. That gives you flexibility to add more chairs as your cash flow grows. It's pretty smart. As an orthodontist, you care about getting all the little details right, and ADEC really got it right with this program. So if starting off with a big savings on ADEC equipment sounds good to you, the ADEC Smart Start is definitely worth a closer look. Just follow the link in the show notes to learn more. Hey docs, let's talk about Smile Suite, because it's not just another scheduling system. It's a game changer in the world of new patient management. And as a proud Smile Suite partner, I've witnessed the incredible impact it has on practices of all sizes. Smile Suite means your new patient calls and web leads are expertly handled 7 days a week, even during nights and weekends. And they offer top-notch customizable presentation software and seamless post-consultation follow-up. It's like having a secret weapon for your practice's success. Curious? Dive into the revolution at GetSmileSuite.com. And don't forget to mention Hey Docs to unlock some extra goodies. Elevate your practice with Smile Suite, because every smile deserves a suite of excellence.
So let's talk about it from a budget standpoint. Let's say doctors are looking at this and saying, okay, 2026 is going to be my year where I'm going to be dialing things in a little bit more. I've already been embracing AI and I've already been embracing some digital things. And maybe it's time to just take that next step and to incorporate this in as well. What do you think docs need to be doing when they're looking at, what do I need to do next? What if I don't have a big budget? What if I don't have a lot of money, or I don't have a big amount that I'm ordering now, but I will? Talk us through that.
Sure. Yeah. So we're actually majority owned by customers. So orthodontists are the majority of our investors. To that end, we've priced details to be very affordable, regardless of what kind of practice size you are or season. So I can get to details in a second. But even if you before you want to join something like details, there's a few different great things to do. First is having some inventory management process. It doesn't have to be technology. This is going to be time intensive, right? So if you're saying no to spending a little bit of money, then you're going to say yes to time, right? Which is fine. That might be the right trade-off, right? For the season you're in, or it might be a good starting point. And so tag systems specifically, and there's plenty of stuff out there about how to run a tag system. I'd happy to jump on a call and connect you to Carrie Ann from our team, who would be better than me to talk about it. But some sort of system to just get a handle on what is it that we have in stock and what needs ordered is a really good starting point. Another one that's I actually get from Dr. Biggs that I just saw him doing. It was one of a couple different things that started the bill check feature that we're rolling out, which is that I've watched him for years now before details. He'd print out his credit card statement. He'd get all of the invoices and he would just go through all the invoices and with a highlighter, and he highlights like $52 shipping fee for a $48 item. What's that? And then he walk the staff through, hey, this stack, go yell at a sales rep and call me in. I'd be happy to do that with you. And then credit card statements like, why do we have 3 charges from the same supplier the same day, almost the same amount, but not the same amount? That's a very detail-oriented person, thus the name details, in addition to the detailing phase of orthodontics. So that's the mentality that we bring in the software, is to try to help, not with each of the things I just mentioned, but overall with that process. And so those two things, one's kind of on the front end, like, hey, how do we just get a handle on what needs ordered and when? And then on the back end, trying to catch like, okay, hold on. Honestly, shipping fees is one of the biggest culprits. And that can expose a number of things. Either it was $52 because we ran out and didn't realize it. No one told Stephanie or whoever's doing the ordering, right?
Yep.
Which means then we needed to do that.
Russia.
And holy crap, that happened 4 times last month, right?
Yep.
That's a problem, right? So it exposes that kind of thing, but also supplier mistakes. Like, suppliers are human like all of us. And so if you think about it from a supplier's perspective, which we have to do because we're agnostic and our practices work with every buying group out there. They order from every supplier, 190 suppliers uniquely every month, receive orders through details. We kind of see the whole spectrum of things. And so if you're a supplier, I've got these 4 buying groups that we have pricing with that's a little bit different in each one. We have this doctor group that has negotiated great pricing. So we've got pricing for them. We've got this orthopedo practice of 30 offices. And the supply side doesn't necessarily always have the technology to make it super easy to make sure everything is like all of those dots are connected the right way. And so it may be that you were supposed to be getting a certain price and you just weren't. And someone forgot to click a button. And that's really hard to spot, if you don't have technology like details, but also if you're not tangibly looking at those invoices. Not necessarily a sexy thing to do or a fun thing to do, but it does pay.
Yeah. And again, we want to take it all the way back top level, and we think about businesses and bottom lines and paying attention to the percentage of expenses to income. All of these little things do add up. And this is the little areas where we have leaky buckets that just can continue to drip without us really paying attention to it unless we are detailed like that. And I think many doctors, I think you bring up such a good point about a lot of us think about reconciling our accounts, and our bookkeepers or doctors themselves managing expenses to just making sure that our credit card, everything is categorized correctly. But even our bookkeepers aren't going to know. If there's 4 charges on the same day from the same company, they're not going to know. They're just going to go expense.
Good news, doctor. I've now categorized those 4. They're in the right category.
Exactly. And I think you bring up such a good point that the devil is in the details, literally, of what we are doing. And this is the side of the business that none of us want to pay attention to. As business owners, we have to, and whether it's our team members, whether it's a software company that's helping us with it, when we're really trying to shore up and say, okay, I am running the most efficient company and I'm looking for those leaky buckets or the levers to pull to just get that extra squeeze. to me, this is low hanging fruit, in my
Hmm.
opinion. It just isn't what we want to put our eyes on all the time.
It's Kenneth from Dr. Depew's office, the practice manager there. He said it really early on when I was just talking, just trying to learn. He was like, look, this is something ordering and procurement, it has to happen. We have to do it. We have to have the supplies, but we're not an expert in that. We can try to become an expert, and usually as staff members, it's like they're trying to become that expert. But we can also, this falls into a category of things that we can outsource, right?
Yeah.
We can give our team member a tool to make them do this much more simply, rather than us trying to juggle in a way that's like clearly not scalable.
Yeah. Yes. Excuse me. Yes, I completely agree with you on that. And when you've heard me say this before, I am a big proponent of outsourcing, and it doesn't necessarily mean taking away somebody's job. But it
Hmm.
definitely, in my opinion, means making them more efficient in what
Yeah.
they're doing, and sometimes opening up the space for them to really
Sure.
do what they do best. And there's always going to be oversight with any company. If we've got a third party company that
Hmm.
is managing a process or a system within our practices, we have to have oversight. It's never out of sight, out of mind. But
Yeah.
if we can feel confident that most of the pieces are in place and we just have to jump in, do the little bit that we have to do, and then we're off
Mhm.
back to, providing great patient experience, getting another start in the
Mhm.
door, because now we've actually got the time to spend time on a start versus
Yeah.
in the back room ordering.
Just think about that. One start. That's great revenue. That's good money. Even one start, if you could free up the staff for now, can you do one start a month? Can we get them an extra couple starts a month? Right? Like how much time can we free up? And that's part of what we want to help with. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. So let's talk a little bit about. I'm going to shift gears for a minute here and just leaning back in on where you came from and building a company from the ground up, and what you have done over time. I'm wondering if you can just talk a little bit to our startup doctors and what you have learned in starting this business, to how
Yeah.
that is applicable to a startup doctor, and just some of these lessons of of
Mhm.
growing a business and moving it forward.
Sure. Yeah. I'll tell you, starting anything is hard. It's just grueling work, right? I guess I'll say I lucked into the startup world just more broadly, like technology startups. When I was in college and going through officer training program in the Army, and I was started consulting, and I didn't know, Jill, what the word consulting meant, but that's effectively what I was doing. I was not a professional consultant yet, like you, but this person needed an app built, and I was like, I know this developer, and I know enough to, I think I can figure it out. Market, go to market project, a slide deck. Someone wants to raise money. I think I can help you fundraise and raise money. And so just over time, like the only people that, I could charge money to were people that had no money. And so those were startups, right? And so I got a lot of time and hours into that kind of idea to pricing, building the product, launching it, first customers, first year, first employee, first fire, all that stuff. And for 4 or 5 years was doing that before that company was acquired. In that season, there was something I developed with that I think is true probably for these startup docs too, which is that anyone that has the ambition to start something they have an engine in them that they should pursue, right? That you should pour the gasoline onto. And often someone would come to us like consulting with an idea, and they're like, I have this idea, like Dr. Biggs, this Amazon for orthodontics.
Yep.
And it's almost like I can see smoke on this mountain over there. Like I think there's a fire over there. And 8 times out of 10, you start walking in that direction and it evaporates. Like there was never smoke. It was a cloud. It was foggy, whatever. 1 time out of 10, you get there to the mountain and the fire is already out, right?
Mhm.
Someone's already solved it or whatever. 1 time out of 10, as you get closer, you realize it's not one fire, there's 14. And there's 14 plumes of smoke coming up. And
Yep.
so I think if you're the type of person that has that engine of saying, I'm not going to join and start out in a corporate office, or I'm not going to do a couple other different paths that they could do. I'm going to go out on my own. Or maybe I've done it. We have a couple mutual customers where it's like, no, I've actually done all the things. I'm going to start it over. I'm going to roll the dice, which is also crazy. Like you have to be a little bit crazy to want to be a starter like that, to want to
Yeah.
start something new like that. And even if you have a practice that's super successful and you're like, I want to keep that going, But we have a lot of mutual customers that have this other business that I've started too. In all of those cases, following that path of I see the smoke, and that engine of I'm going to keep going. Okay, it's not what I thought it was going to be. It's time to pivot. Or it is what I thought it would be, but I have to pivot in this way. It builds resilience that's going to serve you throughout the entirety of your career in all the different parts of the career that you have, right? And in your personal life and in every other way. So I feel like starting anything new and hard is is edifying, right? Going to make you better as a person. And so I feel like this is true for all business ownership to some degree, but if you're starting something new or doing something hard, it's like it's like a multiplying effect. Not only are you getting the benefit of the business you're building, you're also getting everything that business does to you as you're building it, which is priceless.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And thanks for sharing that. And I'm sure a lot of the listeners are like, yes, I needed to hear that because it's hard. I know I've got docs in all phases that listen here, but especially from the startup perspective, it's hard when you're taking that leap of faith or investing in yourself or saying, I'm going to go out and do this and make a go of this. And I love what you said. You just have to do that hard work. And if you get out there and you're seeing something that just doesn't seem quite right, there's nothing that says we can't pivot. And to try and bring this back to details and what you guys are doing, I think so many times we can get caught up in this is the way I learned this at my associateship job, or this is the way I saw it at a previous doctor's. And so therefore I have to do it that way. And I think from a business owner perspective, knowing that it's okay to take a chance on something new, pivot, to change, to maybe take a system that is antiquated and bring it to life for the future. I think in looking at that from an ordering standpoint, or looking at that from I just need to improve where my P&L is at, or get my income into a better position as I am growing from a startup perspective. All of these little investments, doing the hard, really does make a big difference in where you're going to end up at.
Absolutely. And it's such an inspiring thing to me. So the reason I've fallen in love with ortho, I want to be an ortho for forever at this point, because the doctors are they're so cool. They're so interesting. They're all way smarter than I am, first of all. But secondly, they all have disparate hobbies, interests, but they all have that engine, I feel like, in some degree. There's one that just came to mind, a very similar example, both supply side and doctor side, Scott Haley and the group POP, so Premier Orthodontic Practices. Scott Haley, a guy who's on the supply side for his entire career, awesome career on the supply side, and is now building this doctor study club group with these 4 founding doctors, all of which have successful practices, right? Yep. And they don't have to do that. They could be doing any number of other things. And so I feel like these instances of innovation and entrepreneurship within the industry, it's cool to see that organically happening. Yeah. And we're happy to obviously to support anywhere it's happening.
Yeah, I totally agree. I know you and I could just talk and talk. It's never a hard conversation for you and I to get in the weeds here, but we are going to have to wrap it up. So if somebody wants to get a hold of you, if they are like, hey, I think this next year is the year. I just need to get this off my plate. I need the who. I don't need to figure out the how. Yeah. What's going to be the best way that they can get a hold of you, or details, and maybe have a conversation about ordering and what that looks like to get it?
Well, we're very consultative in the process, even if we're doing a demo and all of that. So it should be valuable regardless of where you land or where you start. And now is ideal timing as the year is starting. We haven't talked about this yet. We will have launched something that gives the practices a very easy way to get on a monthly ordering schedule. Now, you hear that, and dear listener, and you may be like, I'll just tell my staff, order once a month. Jill, as you're like, that's not how it ends up working out, right? For a variety of different reasons. And so we've built some technology using AI that once you've been using details a little bit, it tells you, here's the things that you're going to need to order in this upcoming month. And here's the quantity you likely need to order based on generally your starts, how many you've ordered in the past, et cetera. And so this AI system we've built is only going to get smarter and smarter. Now, the goal of that is not the AI. Like, the AI stuff is cool. That's my side of the business. I love technology. The goal is, I just scheduled my ordering. I'm done. I don't have to touch this again for a month, right? Yep. That peace of mind, that efficiency, And then all the goodness that comes with that. Oh, now we paid less in shipping fees. Now we paid like all the good stuff.
Yep.
So now's an ideal time because we're starting to roll that out. But they can go to orthodonticdetails.com and schedule a demo, and we'll walk them through both that and everything else that we have.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. That's awesome. And I love that we got the insider scoop.
Yeah. It's magic. It feels like magic.
All right, Nick, you know how I like to finish up Hey Docs here. I like to finish it up with a little speed round. So are you ready for the speed
Sure.
round challenge? All
Let's
right,
do
here
it.
we go. What is one business trend you think more people should be paying attention to?
This is a stupid answer, but it's AI. It's talked about way too much, but it is I would say if you're a doctor and you are at all a curious person, don't, first of all, pay for multiple models. So Claude and Google's Gemini thing, which is my current favorite, ChatGPT, just play with them and just take a first step because it is going to be transformative. Obviously not to what you do clinically, but as a business owner and operator, this is like the Macintosh, the iPhone. This is that kind of thing. So that would be my tip.
Oh, I love that. All right. What is one industry challenge you think will shape the future of your work?
The future of my work. I think the same thing, like a lot of practices we've built details to work really well with an OSO or a private practice or a startup, or we've built details from the ground up with all of these different things in mind. So obviously, if you're a doctor in a practice, corporate, what happens there, it matters.
Yep.
Feels like everyone I talk to has a different opinion at this point on what's going to happen. And they're all very confident. And honestly, it's probably some mix of all of those different things. It's not necessarily a challenge for us at Details. The question is just how we can help doctors, specifically private practice doctors, as they are continuing to grow, as there's more and more corporate entry into the market, which in some ways can be a great thing and can be a good thing. And in other ways, it can be difficult and create challenges. Yeah. So where that trend goes will just dictate how we help private practice doctors. Because again, we are majority owned by doctors, founded by orthodontists. And so very much what we're trying to do is build the efficiency and the purchasing power and the tools and all that of what an OSO gets, right? As a private practice, why should it be easier for them to order than you? We don't think it should. It'll be interesting to see just where that goes.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear and find out more as it goes along, for sure. And then our last one, what is the most unexpected lesson you've learned in your career?
I would say that, man, I've got a lot. How much time do we have? This is a speed round. I've got a lot of lessons I've learned the hard way.
As we all should, right?
Yeah.
We got problems.
Yeah. So I would say that grit is the only thing that matters. Obviously, you can be really smart, but if you don't have, and maybe resilience is actually the word I'm looking for there, you can be really smart and have the best business plan and be able to launch that. And if you can't get up the first time you get hit in the face, like didn't matter how smart you were, you can be, however, the inverse is not necessarily true. The harder you work, yes, it may take you longer. Yes, it may cost more money. Yes, it may all these other things, but you'll probably eventually get there to whatever the thing is you're trying to do. So I think it's probably that really resilience is the thing that matters more than anything. Where earlier in my career, I thought that was like a cool thing to, like a feel good thing. Right. Yeah. Yeah. That's nice. What's nicer is to not need to do that. Okay, great. And that's true of all of life, right? You can hope for the best in all these different scenarios. Really what matters is what happens when you fall down. Do you get back up? And now I sound like I'm talking to my 13-year-old, but I would say that is for myself, the thing where I'm like, oh, actually that thing that was hard and then we pushed through it in this way. It was okay. Like it was okay that we had to take this turn or this pivot. So that's the most unexpected for me.
Yeah, I love that. Again, thank you so much for being on Hey Docs again with me. It is always such a pleasure talking to you and picking your brain. You've got so much good information in there, and I'm sure the listeners got a lot. So thanks a lot for being here today.
I feel lucky to know you, and I appreciate the time. Thanks.
Yep. All right. Till next time.
Bye.